So when you're doing a zero, it's so important that where the head is, the client's head. Okay, like if she's straight, if she's bending away from you, if you want a true zero where you don't see any of the cut lines, the position of the head is very important. Have you guys ever done that where you cut a zero and then you comb it again and all these little pieces come out and it looks like you didn't do a good job? It's all because it was tucked under or the position of the head. So Kelly already told me she wants a zero and she doesn't want it longer in the front. If she wanted it longer in the front, shorter in the back, I will pull this back. The further it travels, the longer it'll be. So when I let it go, it'll be longer. She doesn't want that. So when I'm cutting it, I'm going to cut it right where it's going to fall anyway. She always parts it in the middle. So when I cut it, I'm going to part it in the middle. If she says, sometimes I flip it to the side, sometimes I flip it, then I cut it, part it in the middle. If she says always in the middle, cut it, part it in the middle. If she says I always do it on the side, I give her the comb, she parts her hair on the side where it is, and then we cut it into a zero. Because if she changes her mind and she parts it in the middle, what's going to happen to this piece that came all the way over to here if it goes over to this side? What do you think will happen?
It'll be super long.
It'll be super long. It won't look good. So if she flips it, we cut in the middle. If she always wears it on the side, then we cut it on the side. So she says she wears it in the middle, so that's the way I'm going to cut it. So I don't know really how much her hair is going to bounce up. She does have some curl. Do you always wear it straight? Or you just kind of let it air dry?
Get out of the shower.
She's going to let it air dry. That means it's going to curl a little bit. So I have to keep that into consideration. The other thing is, when they say I want it cut to my shoulder, if I leave it a little bit longer, it's going to flip up or under, but usually flip out. Do you want that? Or do you want it to just touch your shoulder?
Just kind of touch my shoulder.
Okay. So those styles where everybody wanted to flip out, that was good. It was good to leave it a little longer so that it'll help you style it that way. But for her, she doesn't want to style it that way. I'm going to give myself a little guide right in the front here where I'm just going to let my finger touch her shoulder and let me give myself a little sniff and see what happens there. And I think that's going to be good, yeah? If it dries up a little bit, it's going to barely touch her shoulder. That's good. I don't want to start cutting from here. I better give myself a guide on this side so that I can balance it. So I'm going to, if the mirror was up, I would look in the mirror and do it. But since it's not up, I'm going to come here, take a little piece on the other side. Stand in front of her, look at her nose and her chin and use that as the center point. Can you guys see them? And give myself a little snip. Oops, I lost it. But I gotta make sure I'm centered. Give myself a snip. Then I better check. It's a little bit longer. It's always better to snip a little longer. You can always go shorter. And I think that looks good. If the mirror was up, I would stand here and I would hold my finger here. Hold this finger here. And look in the mirror and bring my fingers together and see if it's even. Yeah, so if the mirror was up. Okay, so I will give myself a thicker guide. So I'm going to come to this side and cut back my guide straight across. I'm not angling my fingers, tips, just straight across. Here on the side, her head position is perfect because I'm holding this at a true zero. I don't want to elevate. So if I was cutting it longer than the shoulder, I would have to elevate here, right? This is not a zero anymore. So I will ask her to look over there. Turn. And then when I come to do the shoulder, look, now the shoulder's not in my way. I am at a zero now. I'm not elevating anymore. So I will do that to stay at a true zero and bring my guide a little further back. Then I'll do the other side. Okay, should look this way. You guys understand why I'm turning her, right? Mm-hmm. When you want 0 layers, you don't want any layers, you want just a 0-degree haircut, it's important not to elevate, to hold it at a true 0. Because once you start elevating and changing, then you get little chop lines at the bottom of the haircut. Okay, so I brought my guideline further back. Look straight. let me double check it while I'm in this, before I get any further. So let me take a little piece of right above the back of the ear and do the same on this side. And let me check. What do you guys think now on the front?
Oh.
Is it better?
It's a bit like the right.
Now the back. She's got her back there. If her hair was to here, and I have to cut, I'm not going to be at a 0, right? In that case, I would have her stand up, and that way I can do her haircut with a true 0, if it was long like your hair, because the back of the chair is in the way. But the length we want to go to is here. All I need to do is ask her to look down. If she looks down throughout the whole haircut, then I am assured that the top strands are going to be just a teensy bit longer than the bottom underneath strands. So when she puts her head straight, this outside piece is a bit longer, and our hair wants to stick to itself, so it gives us an undercut. It covers all the little chops underneath, and you're not going to see that.
So it doesn't look so bulky.
It might look
Yeah.
bulky. Now, if I cut it straight, and I cut it, and the next section I bring it down and I cut it, then when you look at the back of her hair, I might be able to see all the different chop lines. It won't look straight. So it's important, the head position. And the other thing is, too, how does her hair fall? If she's got a strong cowlick here and I cut it back here, but then the cowlick brings her hair to this side, it's going to look like it's shorter. I have to pay attention to how her hair falls. She's got a standard hair growth. She doesn't have real strong cowlicks, and also her hair is long and heavy. So that's not going to be an issue, too much of an issue for me. But I will keep that in mind. Okay, look down. Now I am going to give myself a little snip right in the middle. I'm going to make sure that I've untangled and untucked all of this hair under here, because sometimes it gets stuck under the cape. And I'm going to make sure that my middle finger is touching her back, because if it's not, that means I'm elevating. So I'll make sure that happens. If her hair is too thick and I need to take a sub-parting, I could do that. So let me get my little guide out of here. Let me untuck my guide from here. And I will take it a little bit longer than I think. Always go longer than you think, because you could always take that off. Now I have a distance. I know where I'm going from, I know where I'm going to, so it'll be easier for me than to just start from one side and go all the way across. So keeping her head down, and clients will move, So I can just push her head down if I need to. I will take a section. I can't hold all that hair, but I can definitely foresee where I'm going. So if I hold my hand down, I'm not going to get there. I need to hold my hand in this angle so that if I could reach, it would take me to the right section. So hold her at a true 0, untuck all the hair, and start cutting. And this is, I can clean it up. So here, I can hold this guide, but I can't hold all that hair, but I could point my finger in the right direction. That looks about right. She just saw it. Remember, you asked for it.
I know I did. I'm actually excited.
It'll grow back.
It's not against your wishes.
I'm
You'll
excited.
find, you'll find.
It's so hot outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is a good time to do it. So now,
I
see,
know.
I can see better. Okay, let me turn her so you guys can see, since this side's on. So here's my guide, and here's that guide. And it might look like it's rounding right now, so if it does, I can always straighten it up, but, so I can't hold all that hair, but I could point my finger in the right direction. This would be the wrong direction. Again, if you're starting off, you might take sub-partings at a time. Don't do all of this. Or if she has extra thick hair, you might want to do sub-partings. But I think we're managing the hair okay, so I don't need to do the sub-partings. So there's that guide. I don't see this guide, so if you don't see your guide, don't cut there. I can't hold it all, but I could point. And do you notice how I'm cutting with just the tip of my scissor? I don't open and close, because when you open and you get the hair here, when you start to close, it pushes the hair out. And when it pushes the hair out, it's longer. So then I'm gonna have like zigzags at the bottom. But if I just open the tip, you should just use like the first inch, inch and a half. If I just open, then it's sharper there and it'll cut it off rather than push it away. And there it is there. Now, just because I'm done with the cut doesn't mean I'm done. Now it's time to check. Okay, look straight. And she mentioned a few times that she doesn't want it longer in the front. So I want to see how it's falling. If it's falling and it's right on her shoulder, and when it dries, it's going to go just a little bit shorter than that. I think I better show it to her. So this is the way you let the client see the back. You turn the client, and I want her to see the sides too.
Yeah.
You turn the client and let them hold the mirror and let them look for themselves in the mirror. Yeah, no, you can look for yourself. Look for yourself. Okay, so look at, I want you to see the side though too.
Yeah.
That's the side, now look at the back. There you go.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, is that a good length?
Yeah.
And this side, yeah? Straight or curved, however straight or curved it
Yeah.
is, you're okay with?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Maybe just make it to like
your eyebrow, a
kind
little-
of like to where above my eyebrow is.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it longer, because look at her strong cowlick right here. If I cut it to her eyebrow and then it separates, look how short it's gonna be. So I have to keep that in mind too. She's got some strong cowlicks here. I do too. So, first I'm gonna do them at a true zero. She already has that style, so I'm just gonna copy it. Let me pull this out so you guys can see what she has. If I needed to pin this out of the way, I could. Sometimes bangs do the opposite. Hers are doing a U, sometimes they'll do like a upside down U like this. Okay, so when I'm pulling, I'm gonna pull with tension, but I'm not gonna cut very much. I'll cut a little at a time. If she says shorter, then I'll go shorter. I don't care if I do this 10 times. It's better than doing it once too short. You know, bangs are very important. So right here they start to curve up. Just clean this line. And again, I'm trying to stay at a true zero. My middle finger is touching her forehead so that I'm not elevating. This is higher than the other one. Or a different shape. And then you make this beautiful U cut, but because one eyebrow is lower than the other, it looks like your haircut, you know, there's more gap between one side and the other, so it looks like the haircut is off. So it's really tricky to try to make it look as balanced as possible. Because we do have to keep in mind that the eyebrows could be what's throwing us off, not necessarily the cut. So let me look at her in the mirror. Now, I want to pull this down and see where that one ends. I want to pull this down and see where that one ends. And it's easier for me to see my fingers, but do you see my fingers are pretty even? Although the cut doesn't look even. Because one side is popping up higher, or the eyebrows. Let's see.
I just like usually blow dry them and then they like go straight and then you just like,
Do you
and then
like
they
it?
get blunt. No, I usually leave them blunt, yeah.
So she likes them thick and blunt on the ends, otherwise you can point cut.
Yeah.
Do you think they're okay?
Mm-hmm.
How
I like
about this? Not this. Let's see. No, let's see when it's dry.
Yeah.
It looks okay, but let's see one side. Remember, one of our ears is higher than the other, or could protrude more than the other, so it might lift it too. And that's another thing too. If she says I want to air dry it, I want it to look even when it's air dried, not only when it's blow dried. Because if she's not going to blow dry, it's always going to look uneven. I want it to look even, not necessarily measure even at the end of the day, because she's not going to blow dry it to let it make sure it measures even. So let's see what that looks like.
Okay.
Yeah? Any questions, guys? No? Okay, let's
Thank
see what that
you.
looks like. You're very good.